This presentation is, it asks the question, how to use technology to disseminate or to inform the world about human rights violations in Ethiopia. See, at this time in Ethiopia is a lot of is going on, and therefore, because of that, and because of lack of accessibility to reliable information, people are divided into camps, whether there are atrocities committed by who and under what circumstances. There are different ideas as to who has done it. Now, the reason why such disparity or such miscommunication between people of reason is that the information is not packaged very well. Okay, the documentation of a given information, of an actual event, are all over the place. In order to explain the situation, or in order to help decision maker understand the situation in Ethiopia in such a manner that they don't go against Ethiopia as they are doing, as we see it today, is that those people who make decisions don't have the right information. Or even if they have the right information, it's so limited in scope, is also limited in the detail of the information. So we are going to use technology to make a case for human rights violation any place in Ethiopia, whoever commits it. We are going to use Google Map. This is how it works. Okay, when you go to your Google Map, what you see is something like this. So your job is to go here and select your places. You can make a map, or you can also go to a map which is already made. So I have made several maps to really make sure that I understand the conflict in Ethiopia. One of the maps, which is a major map that allows you to go through each place where atrocities committed for the last 30 years, or for the last few days, or for the last few months. So I go to my places, and then here I go to my maps. I can pick any map I want. For example, the map I made recently is called TPLF Atrocities in Amhara and Afar region, okay? This is the map. So, how to make the place markers and so on, what information to put on the place markers. For example, here, there is information that 290 children have been died because of lack of medicine in Lalibela. For example, I can pick that. Let me open it in a map first. Okay, so when I click here, this information comes right here. This is not, I cannot consider it as a real information. And when I get the real information and the witnesses, I can tag it here. For example, in this particular Sabbarzina, there is a mention of this event in Lalibela. Okay, now my next step in order to clarify this information is to go out and look if there is such documentation, probably human rights, Amnesty International, Ethiopian Human Rights Commission. Once I find that information, I'll tag it to that place marker. There is a place called Kulmask. So there was, this is also mentioned that there was a massacre here, but it has to be verified. Lalibela airport damage right here with the damage. And probably my next step is to add an actual government level information or Human Rights Commission information, UN information can be tagged here. Okay, here is the airport again. In this particular video, the airport is mentioned. This is the exact location of the airport, and then the information is mentioned in this YouTube video. So if anybody who wants to know about the damage of this infrastructure damage that is caused by TPLF, they can come to this map and see for themselves. There is, that's a referral hospital in some place. This particular referral hospital is damaged and looted and things like that. What we're looking for is image and video and evidence. For example, if I get information that needs to be put, I can edit this place marker. For example, if I want to add a picture, I go here and then bring the picture here, or I can put a YouTube link that describes the documentation describing the what happens in that, what happened to that hospital. The Antioquia massacre. The Antioquia massacre is right here. This is all about Antioquia, and then since this is just a mention in this particular Sabrzena, another additional information that we need is this has to be verified using the, from UN sources or government sources. So we can add even more information. In addition to this video, we can add a second material. For example, I can go here and then put a picture and another video here. So I can put a YouTube URL. By the way, it doesn't have to be always YouTube. We can add other sources like Twitter and Facebook and things like that. Aksum Airport, even though it has been many years ago, Aksum Airport has been damaged by TPLF. So we write that one in. So any place the war is going on, any mention of a place. For example, we can go look at Chifra Robit. Okay, there is a mention that Chifra Robit is part of the war. So Chifra Robit is right here. Right now, there is no information about Chifra Robit, exactly what happened. We are going to add that information over here. Okay, every place. Let's see. Kobo. I have to change the name here. It is not Kob, it is Kobo. Kobo. And so on. So how do you add this information? Well, let's say that there is an event in let's say Yismala Georgis or Yismala town in Ethiopia. So I have here. So what I do is I will add it to my map. I hope nothing bad happens. Then I will go edit here and then say, some comment, or I add the comment and the link right there. Do you understand? That's what we will do. But for now, we don't want Ismaila because Ismaila is not mentioned. So the Girana, all these places where TPLF is on rampage and killing people, we are going to add the documentation by putting place markers. Let me show you another map that I made that contains information about the 30-year rule by TPLF. Let's go to this map. I think maybe I'll do like this. This is the one which I like very much. It has at this time 108,000 views. Now, if I zoom out a little bit, you will see what I'm talking about. Let's zoom out. There we go. So these are sites where atrocities were committed for the last 30 years. In fact, this may not be even half of what happened. So there are these Benshangul and Wolaga areas, and many in southern Ethiopia. And then when you go to Tigray and many other places, you will find information about graveyard, mass graves, etc. The Macadra Massacre is documented here. We can have the Macadra Massacre, for example. We can go over here. These are several pieces of information that came during the Macadra Massacre. So each place marker has some information in it. For example, this is a Facebook watch. If you go here, this is another, the Habesha Facebook. If you go here, there is a description. This is Amnesty International documentation, and so on. So here is what is very interesting about maps. For example, if someone emails you about what goes on in Ethiopia, etc., what you do is you give that person about what goes on in your own way from what you read, as exact, as precise as possible. You don't want to bias the person, but instead of saying, yeah, in Addis Ababa they did this, in Mekelle they did this, in Awasa they did this, you just give that person an email of this map. You just email the map, tell him that he can navigate through the various places where atrocities have happened in Ethiopia. By the way, these particular maps do not make accusations. Whoever makes the accusation, legal accusation, will be the government or any authorized entity. We as common people, we have some feeling that an agency or such as TPLF and their agencies everywhere in Ethiopia may have participated in these atrocities. But what we are doing is we are presenting the facts as they are, based on scientific information. Not just Sabardena is not enough, by the way. What is important is government sources, international media outlets, local media outlets that are government sanctioned, by the way, not Sabardena, and those advocates, human rights advocates. So you share the map. If your congressman asks you what goes on in Ethiopia, sir, this is what goes on in Ethiopia as far as you're concerned, here are the facts. You just send him the map. And what this does to people who are reading is the magnitude of the crime, and that, as a decision maker, it will encourage him or her to act on behalf of the people who are suffering. So use this precise mapping of the crime that is being committed against our people in Ethiopia, so that in such a way that decision makers are informed, they know what goes on. Right now, people are saying, why are you fighting? Why are you fighting? Well, yes, definitely. In war, if war doesn't have reason, if you don't have any reason, if you don't have just cause for a given war, whatever you do, killing people is like murder. Killing a soldier will be a murder. What is the rationale for the war in Ethiopia? In my personal opinion, the rationale for the war in Ethiopia is right here in front of us, because the crime that is committed against the Ethiopian people is of such magnitude, it can rival Rwanda itself. It is a systemic, over a long period of time, at least 30 years, at least one full generation of people suffered and died. So the rationale for this war is, for Ethiopia, the bad actors must be brought to justice. That is, for Ethiopians, that is the case. Whoever does it, that's what we want. We want justice. We don't want war, but we want justice. In order to get this justice, the aggressor, the organization that committed all this crime against Ethiopian people, is up there at the international level advocating for the destruction of Ethiopia. And we are not going to allow that. So the no more movement is based on these facts. This is the rationale. So use technology to present your case. Don't give them a snippet of a strand of cases where some of the cases can be considered just, neighbors are fighting. This is not neighbors are fighting. This is actually an international fight for human rights. So use this technology, this mapping method, to present the case. The case is so huge, the documentation is so huge, it has to be packaged as I showed you in this map. So there are several things that you can see. This documentation basically include all the atrocities. Bahar Dar had it. These are international calls for action. Many other, even including some towns in Tigray have it. According to some Ethiopia, people we have not seen yet. We have not seen. This is the tip of the iceberg. There are. It is alleged that there are several mass grave sites in Ethiopia, particularly in Tigray, who those people are in those mass graves, and eventually, those people who lost their lives in dark alleys by agencies, TPLF agencies, are calling for justice. That is the reason for the war. So please use technology. You can use this map, copy this map, develop your own, or participate in a group so that we can refine this map and sits for the next generations to come, become a library. You see, if you don't know the mistake, you'll make the mistake again. Remember that. So this is something that everyone needs to participate and document. And also, while building this map, we don't want to accuse people who have nothing to do with this situation. There are many pieces of information you can find accusing individuals, even groups, honest groups. So everyone should be protected, even including the people or the agencies that are being accused. These are the facts, and they have to explain it. When justice comes, when everyone sits in front of the judge and the judge that, they have to defend their action eventually. So please participate in developing this map. Thank you.